We're going to go ahead and get started. And I want to just welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Um, we're really, I really want to just approach this again, like I said, before, from a place of remembrance and really reconnecting to our roots. So I am going to go a little bit into, some of the history of different healing modalities, um, and ancient wisdoms and kind of like how we got here. And I'll go over, the expectations, et cetera, as we go. But I'm just so happy that you're all here to join us. And we do have my husband, Cliff, who's also here. And we'll go a little bit more into reconnect and what all of that means and how it got started. So this whole initiative is brought to you by Reconnect Nonprofit and specifically Reconnect Ancestry Fund. So this is something that we started to bring holistic healing to underserved communities of color. So any donations will go towards that. And then just a little bit more about Reconnect, the nonprofit. So it was founded by my husband, Cliff Divine, and it's a global love movement for healing and human connection. And essentially, he started it after the Bataclan attacks in Paris. If any of you are familiar with those terrorist attacks back in 2016, we actually just celebrated the 10-year anniversary of Reconnect movement. So founded in 2016 after those terrorist attacks, and he traveled to all the 50 states, spreading peace and unity, and asking people the question, how can we create peace? And it's very rooted in physical reconnection. You can kind of see here in this image, this is a reconnect chain where they're performing the gesture, which at the time looked like this, palm to palm, and has now evolved into the reconnect gesture where you link your fingers. Um, so it evolved from a peace movement into a love movement, and still rooted in that physical connection. And really just built on this belief that healing happens collectively and happens together. You can see we just recently had an event there where Tisha, who is Reconnect's director of grants and community impact, was there with us at the Culver City Stairs. We had a great healing community moment filled with lots of laughter and love. And Reconnect is all about laughter, oneness, and love. And you can see there just some of the impact that the movement had. And I'll just give Cliff here a moment to say hi and anything else you want to add about Reconnect, Cliff. He says hi humbly. So for this evening, um, when possible, please just have your cameras on to support that connection. I know that we're not in person. And when I saw the rain today, I was like, I'm so glad I didn't try to have an in-person event because probably would have prevented a ton of people from coming. But definitely just want to honor each other's voices, share airtime, take notes when you need to. There will be a Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions, just write them down. When we get into the human design, it's going to be really tempting when you look at your chart to be like, oh, what's this number? And what's that gate? And what does this mean? And I totally understand it's a lot of information. So we're going to pace ourselves. Just write down any questions you have. And if at some point I'm just like, that's for a deeper session, then we just smile and take it at our pace. So there will be a giveaway at the end. So stay until the end for that. And then I'll give you some time built in to do a post and share a takeaway on social media um, as part of the giveaway. And a little bit about myself. So my human design is a 4/6 emotional manifester, and I'm certified in holistic health and advanced human design and also a Reiki certification. I was a teacher for 10 years. I worked in the south side of Chicago first for the first 5 years, and then in Watts and Compton for the last 5 years. And I really have been an advocate for social emotional learning in schools, which is what drew me to things like, holistic health and human design. and I'm working on a book on how to incorporate human design into the classroom and the world of education. I'm also a voice actor, singer-songwriter, and as you can probably tell, I love cats, which unfortunately they're not with me in the room right now because they're misbehaving sometimes. But that's a little bit about me. And I would love for everyone to just go around, say your name, and then share something that you loved as a child. So before all of the other voices and the complications of life set in, what was something that you really, really loved as a child? So I'll go first. My name is Megan. And as a child, I really just loved running in nature and jumping on trampolines. That just brought me so much joy. So just that was my thing that I loved as a child. Um, and yeah, we'll go with Tisha next.
My name is Tisha, and the first thing that popped in my head was I used to orchestrate these like musicals, and I would write out the script and like get my entire neighborhood on board, and I loved doing that. And then I also loved we would pretend we were like the Cheetah Girls, and yeah, I just loved orchestrating dances and musicals and like getting to pretend. Um, yeah.
I love that. Thank you, Tisha. And Felicia, do you want to go next?
Well, my name is Felicia. Some of my friends also know me as Ayoka. That's my Yoruba name. As a child, I definitely gravitated toward music and art and performance and things like that. I also really loved swimming still, and bike riding was big for me. So those are some things that are representative.
Nice, thank you. And Laura?
I also loved music and the stars and my stuffed animals.
Nice. Thank you, Laura. Cliff?
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me clearly?
Hmm.
Okay, good. Well, I love ice creams, and I love to play with the waves at the beach.
Nice. Thank you. And then Marlon, if you get a chance, you can put it in the chat because I know you're on the go there. Um, so this question really connects back to something that we'll talk to a bit later regarding human design. So remember
Okay.
what you
Uh,
shared. Oh, I'm sorry, Marlon, you're able to share?
yeah, I'm trying to yeah, I got a little window. How do I do the camera on here?
It's hard to say because are you on your
Okay.
phone?
Yeah, but I could just say it. I could just say it real quick.
Okay.
Okay, so one thing really loved as a child, it's something I'm actually trying to get back to, but I love the show Rugrats, Tommy Pickles and stuff like that. And
Classic.
so one thing I loved was getting into adventures with my friends in the neighborhood and those that live near me. So like every time I would go outside, I would be like, let's go exploring. Let's go like, explore something. That was like one of my highlights of playing outside in my childhood, just going on adventures.
Beautiful. Thank you. I think it sounds very similar kind of to like Tisha, what you were sharing before about like kind of like let's get the gang together and go have an adventure. My gang was my cats at the time, but can somewhat relate. Okay, so again, remember this, what you shared when it comes back to a later portion about the human design. I'll bring this back up. So now I want to delve a little bit into the history, and I know Felicia, you kind of mentioned you have, is it your Yoruba name? Uh-huh. Yeah, so we'll touch a little bit about just kind of the ancestry of healing. Um, so essentially before human design and before, like these modern Western names of these modalities that we have, there were, African civilizations that they had spiritual, energetic, and healing sciences. And so while we are going to touch on human design and Kabbalah, they are not, like these like new inventions, so to speak. They're really based on these ancient wisdoms. And they're basically a way that we can kind of point back to the ancient energetic truths that we have already lived through our ancestors. So we're gonna delve into it kind of from that perspective. And one of the original kind of modalities was called Kemetic. Well, Kemet was Egypt, the name for Egypt at the time. So Kemetic science of Ma'at and divine order. Um, so over 5,000 years ago, right, there was uh, the use of Ma'at, which represented the divine order, truth, balance, and cosmic alignment. And essentially, they focused on being aligned with the laws of the universe. And so they studied sacred geometry and astronomy and energy centers and the soul's journey, all of which human design and Kabbalah also address. And so they're essentially kind of this modern translation of those systems. And Ma'at had this original concept of living in energetic truth, which, in human design, we could say, following your strategy and your authority, for example. Um, there was also the Ifa and Yoruba divination. And so, in West Africa, for over thousands of years, these things were practiced. And Ifa is a divination system that identifies one's Ori, meaning the spiritual head or destiny. So they use sacred verses, and individuals are able to learn their life path, challenges, and gifts, which is actually very similar to human design, where we can see, like what is your life's purpose or theme, and what are the gifts that you naturally have. So essentially, they're all interconnected, and human design really focuses on like the energetic blueprint, um, and they're correlated in that same way. And there's also the concept of Ubuntu and collective healing. So this is a Southern African philosophy, especially among Bantu speaking cultures. And the core teaching is I am because we are. So it was really about healing being communal, right? And if there was any type of disconnection, that was actually considered illness. So essentially, the core concept of reconnect is Ubuntu in action, right? We're all about coming together for the sake of healing. And this disconnection or this separation um, is actually really a form of illness that we want to combat with love, essentially. So there were also energy centers and different medicines that they used to heal the energy centers in multiple African traditions. So they understood, like when we talk about the meridian lines of energy and how it flows through the body. And so they had different healing rituals and even references to like subtle bodies, which in holistic healing, we talk about, there's the mental body, the emotional body, the spiritual body, like all those different layers. So they already had this understanding and really using rhythm, breath, touch, plant medicine, and ancestral communication as a form of healing. And so when there was, again, illness, it was considered like a form of spiritual misalignment, right? Not just the physical body. And so we understand, right, that the nervous system is not separate from our spirit, right? These are all kind of just layers that we have within us. And so human design gives us the structure for what that blueprint really looks like. And then Kabbalah gives us the metaphysics and the laws of the universe, and how to operate in that. And so we'll talk more about Kabbalah in week 3. But for right now, we're going to dive into the specifics of what human design specifically is. So just show of hands if you're already familiar with human design, if you've already kind of delved in a little bit. Okay. So some of us, okay. Um, so it was founded in 1987 by Ra Uru, who you see here, and he downloaded the system while tripping in Ibiza, tripping on acid. And essentially, a voice spoke to him and told him to lock himself away for 8 days and 8 nights and write down everything that it was saying. Um, and so he wrote down the entire system, including all of the science. Since 1987, he made predictions in 1987 that have since come true, and he also wrote down science in 1987 that had not yet been actualized or fully sustained that has now been sustained. And basically, this system gives us a blueprint for our energy and shows us how we're meant to make decisions, use our energy, and interact with others, combining modern science, which is quantum physics and genetics, with the ancient wisdoms of astrology, the I Ching, Kabbalah, and the Hindu chakra system. So, in a minute here, when you look at your energy type is going to give you your natural way of operating with the most flow and the least resistance. And your strategy, which you'll see as well on your chart, is going to help you flow with life. So instead of facing resistance from others and your environment, it's going to help you flow. And then your authority, which you'll also be able to see in your chart, is the energy center in your body. If you can see this body graph here, you'll have one of these energy centers will be your authority, and it's essentially how you are directly connected to source consciousness. So it's your body's way of allowing you to speak directly with your soul and get that soul level insight of what is the best decision for me to make an aligned decision. So I'm going to give you a moment now to actually go and generate your charts. That way you can have them in front of you. And if you already have your chart in front of you, that's great. But otherwise, we're going to go ahead and take a few minutes here, and you're going to select HD traditional for the type of chart. That way we can all be looking at the same version. And then you're just going to need to enter your birth information and your email, and then you're going to click view your chart. And I will give you a couple of minutes to do that now. Feel free to unmute if you have any questions about the chart generator or how to input things and get it to work, etc. And then once you have your chart, you can just go ahead and send in the chat that you're ready. That way we know who's ready to move forward. Okay, I see Felicia's ready. Well, Felicia was first, Cliff. Sorry, she's Aries. All the fire signs were first. Aries was first, Leo was second, and then Sagittarius. Perfect.
What if we don't know what time we were born?
good question. So, do you have an idea if it was like morning or afternoon,
Oh,
evening?
wait. Okay, I'm gonna look for a text from my mom where she told me a story. Hold on.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm embarrassed for you guys to see me with my glasses because I just started wearing them. So that's why I'm turning
Oh
my
my
face.
gosh. That's surely this is not the space to be embarrassed. But yeah, usually the moms are the ones that know. And if you are like, oh my gosh, I have no idea, then you can always put 12 p.m. But if you at least have a general idea if it was morning or afternoon, that's helpful.
If I can just share, I remember her, she told me, she texted me the story of how I like, she could barely get up to into the hospital. I just slipped right out and I didn't cry and I just came so easily. And I was like, wow.
Oh my gosh. Mom, they always have the best stories for labor. I was the opposite. I think it was like 18 hours or something. It was,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
It's a memorable event. Yes, it is. Oh, Felicia, you said you found a natal chart that confirms the time. Does that mean that you were able, oh, for your birth time, you found it? Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah, because I always was like thinking I kind of knew it, but not sure. And I realized it was evening, not morning for sure, and closer to
Mm,
5 p.m. So I was happy
okay.
to have that.
Yeah. It's good. Sometimes it's like sometimes when I do chart differences like that, it's not a significant difference, but some of them it like completely changes their entire energy type depending on the
Yeah.
hour. So it just kind of depends. Okay. All right. Marlon has his. Good. Okay.
Are you guys all waiting for me?
Yes, but don't worry.
Can
Okay,
the other people start, or wait, hold on.
if you need to, you could, if you have a general idea, you can always put 12 p.m. or
Okay,
yeah,
12 a.m. Uh-huh.
12 p.m.
Oh,
But if you know it's the morning, then put 6 a.m. And if you
I
know
think
it's
it was night,
okay,
like
so then,
midnight.
oh, midnight.
I have no idea, but I think she
Okay.
said it was at night. Yeah.
Okay, so if it's in the evening, you could put 6 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah. And then if you find it, like as we're going through, feel free to update and adjust if you need to. That's always fine.
Okay. I have it.
Okay, wonderful. All right. So now we're going to go around and just say our energy type. So when you're on your chart, if you scroll down, there will be a section that says type, and next to it will be the title of your energy type. And I'm going to put the different types up on the slide here so you can recognize them. So I, for example, am a manifester. And then Tisha, what is your energy type?
I am a generator.
Okay. And Felicia?
Also a generator.
Nice. And Laura?
Manifester.
Ooh, okay. And Marlon?
Reflector.
Yes. And Cliff?
I am a projector.
Yes. Amazing. So we have almost all the types. The only one we're missing is manifesting generators, but it's really hard to get them to sit down and do anything. So this makes sense. Um, okay. So let's talk a little bit about each of the five energy types, and they all have different auras. So the manifester aura is what we call closed and repelling. And I know that makes us sound super friendly. But what it really means is that our aura is actually designed to energetically push away anything that might get in the way of us initiating, because we're really here to initiate. So as we're initiating and taking action, it kind of like clears the path energetically for us to do those initiating actions. And then the generators and manifesting generators have what we call an open and enveloping aura. So that means you really draw in and attract the things that are meant for you. And the more joy and alignment that you have within your energy, the more like positive and aligned things that you will attract, essentially. You're going to attract either way. It depends on your energy, what kind of things you're attracting. And then the projector aura is actually conical. So it goes like outward, like with a point, and it's designed to like plug in to the G center, which is, if you look here, this like yellow diamond in the center. It's designed to plug into the G center of whoever they're engaging with, and essentially they can read the energy of other people very in depth. So they like plug in, they can tap into the energy, like gain energy from them, and also read their energy. So they're really good at reading systems, people, etc. And they're based on all of their expertise in systems and people, then they're able to help guide others. And then the reflectors, which are very rare, they're only like 1.5% of the population. So Marlin Marlin is a rarity. Um, they have resistant and sampling auras, and as you can see here, they have no defined centers, right? No centers are colored in on the body graph, which is what makes them a reflector. So they very much absorb and then reflect the environment around them. So environment is huge. It's big for all of us, but especially if you're a reflector, you're going to be absorbing and reflecting whatever you surround yourself with. Okay, so those are the different aura types.
Can I,
And
sorry,
oh
can
yeah,
I ask
yeah.
a question? Because I found out the time. Does it
Oh,
matter what time zone or just put the time?
if you put the time, it'll base the time zone on your location that you
Oh,
put.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank
so it'll be
you.
good. And then let me know if you're still a manifester.
I'm so, I know, I'm so
Um,
curious if I'm gonna be.
yes. So manifestors are, like I said, the initiators, right? They're here to start things, whether it's an idea, a project, an innovation. They can move fast when they have an urge, and they're not designed to ask for permission, but they do need to inform others before they act. Otherwise, they might face resistance. I say might, but I'm going to say always. If we don't inform, we always face resistance. That's been my experience. So, our strategy is to inform before acting. And this can literally just be, like a text, like this morning when I texted Cliff and I was like, hey, I'm going to be at the coffee shop until 5 p.m. and then I'm coming home. That's it, informing, right? And it can be spoken or written. And because manifestors are designed to have a big impact, it really is about informing the people that your actions will impact. So that's the key there. Laura, are you still a manifester?
I am.
Yes. Okay. So we've got to inform. Um, and again, it just life goes so much smoother when we inform. And if you inform from a place of neutrality and you still are met with some kind of resistance or negativity, just know that that's on them and it's not yours to carry, right? Because their reaction is their reaction. You can't control their reaction. Now, if you're informing, like I used to sometimes back in the day with my mom, where I'd be like, "I'm doing this. Don't try to stop me." Like if you say it like that, then like, yeah, you're probably, then it's a little bit on you the way you said it. But yeah, informing from a place of warmth or neutrality is the best way to operate. And for the generators, which are the builders, right? Because they have this activated sacral center here, this one in red, That's the life force energy center. So they have sustainable energy, right? Starting at the beginning of the day and then all throughout the day, but only for what excites them or what lights them up. So if they try to force things or go out of their way to like, you know, initiate or try to make something happen or try to force something to happen, then they're going to burn out. But it's really about waiting to respond to the things that come to them. And if that thing lights them up, then they say yes and they do it. And if it does not light them up, then they say no. The biggest thing that generators that feel, stuck or burnt out or overly tired, the usually when I ask them to like self-reflect and look at their life, it's that they're saying yes to things that they shouldn't be saying yes to, essentially. So really make sure that you're only saying yes to the things that actually light you up. You're going to bring joy to yourself. It's going to spread to others because you have a warm and enveloping aura, right? You're also here to bring us joy. And then everything is going to go so much smoother in your life. You're going to have satisfaction. The manifesting generators, um, they are, we call them the multitaskers or the doing a million things at once. Um, and they love to skip steps and work quickly. And their goal is really about like not skipping the wrong step. Sometimes when they skip steps, it's a way for us to all get innovation and like learn, oh, we can actually do things this way, and that's cool. And sometimes they skip the wrong step and then they have to go back and redo things. They actually have two strategies because they're a combination energy type. So they have both the manifestor energy and the generator energy. So they first have to wait to respond and then they have to inform before acting. So they have both of the strategies at play there. The projectors are here to guide others. They have a keen sense of how we can do things better, basically. Um, However, they need invitations before sharing their advice. And so the notable thing about both or not both, but manifestors, projectors, and reflectors, we do not have the sacral energy that the generators have. So if any of us are trying to like keep up with generators, it's going to lead to burnout. But especially projectors, because they spend so much mental energy kind of analyzing systems and people, it's even more intense for them, the burnout, if they're trying to like force themselves to keep up with the generators. And so their strategy is waiting to be seen, recognized, and then invited. So visibility, and then making sure that the person has actually invited, um, recognize them for what they're an expert at, and then invited them to share their guidance. And for reflectors, reflectors are the mirrors of our entire world, our whole society. They very easily absorb the energy from those around them because, like I said, they have all open centers. Anywhere that anyone has open, if you have any open centers, meaning it's white, not colored in, that's a place where you absorb the energy from others. So all of us should be aware of that. And reflectors are all open. Um, so they also then reflect that energy back out as well. And they're kind of like the barometers of how we're doing as a society, because they're going to reflect back what is in their environment. And they need time to process decisions. Their strategy is really like waiting for nudges from the universe across a 28-day cycle. Probably one of the most difficult strategies, because they have to wait a full lunar cycle before making any big decisions. So it's uh, it's definitely not the easiest, Marlon. I'm sorry, but that is how it is for reflectors. Um,
Everything makes so much sense now.
yeah, exactly. So we all experience what is called conditioning. And these are the beliefs, behaviors, fears, or identities that are shaped by external influence rather than our true nature. So if you look at your body graph, which is this this piece of your chart where it's got like the centers on it, if you look at that, you're going to see that some are colored in, which means they're defined, and some are white, which means that they are undefined. So anything that you have undefined, you can experience conditioning in those areas. And that can come from parents, culture, religion, school, trauma, media, anything around us. Um, and we're raised to basically make it feel normal, but it doesn't actually mean that it's our authentic selves. Um, so I want us to kind of take a moment and reflect. And I want you to think about where in your life are you living a story that may not have originated from you? Where in your life are you living a story that may not have originated from you? For example, like for me, I have like an irrational fear of certain types of people just because my mom conditioned me to have that fear, right? So that was a story that I was told growing up. It's not mine. Could be a belief that you have about success or about love or relationships, maybe a rule that you have about money or about food or your body. I had a client tell me that her dad conditioned her that there is no fun, there is no joy until every item of work is done, for example. I had another client who told me that her mom conditioned her that food is a form of punishment, meaning that she was like a chronic dieter and she would like overeat or undereat as a form of like self-punishment when she felt guilty about something, right? These are conditioning from the people around us. So I want you to take a moment and I'm gonna have us share in breakout rooms. And I want you to share one area where you recognize that you may have been conditioned. Could be in your past, maybe something you got over, or in your present. So, one area where you recognize that you may have been conditioned. And I'm going to, is everyone good with the prompt on, on what we're answering? Yes. Okay. I'm gonna send us into some breakout rooms and go ahead and share. Hello, welcome back.
Hi.
Hey.
How did it
But
go?
I just realized as we went back, I was like, wait, are the breakout rooms recorded for the video? It
I
went,
don't think so. I
it
don't even
went
know that that would be
great.
possible.
It was interesting because we have a sort of similar, like we both expressed them or ours in originally, but they were very similar.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, I had trouble at first identifying how to figure out how to narrow that down because I feel like we're all so conditioned. Like, how do I figure out what part is sticking out the most? But I think
Mm.
I did reflect back a little bit of what Laura said to me. And then as we just jumped here, I also thought about something else that was like different, but also I think true. So as we share, we can get into it.
Yeah, I would love that. Well, can you start us off? I would love to hear what you
Okay.
found.
So I realized that there's a certain respectability um, nature I have where I admire the quality in some ways because I've seen it with my grandfather and my mother to be like a sign of grace and elegance. And that kind of helps make it ease with dealing with people. But then at other times, I feel like it could also kind of be something that holds you back from just like fully or at least more quickly because I think I get there, but sometimes it takes a little while. It's probably gotten better as I've gotten older, to be honest. Um, from kind of like jumping in and letting your hair down like quicker, like me being away from home for a long time and being in different circles for sure has gotten me better with that. But I still sometimes find myself admiring other people who are more quick to say exactly what's on their mind, even if it's like biting or not um, proper. or people who are like more quick to jump to the dance floor. I'll get there, but I might have to have some tequila first, you know, like so it's just sort
Right.
of a way that I think sometimes holds you back from yourself. And then the other thing I was going to say was money, that I don't think I grew up with the feeling that money was like a limitless, abundant thing. It was like you're lucky and it's a kind of a gift and you have to like um be very protective.
Mm,
So yeah.
interesting. Thank you for sharing.
Mm.
And then Laura, what did you discover?
Mine was similar in its essence of, yeah, just like the things that keep me from being like very free and sometimes more poised. And um, the initial example was like I grew up in like a very clean home that now if I when I even if my close friends are coming over, I'm like trying to make it perfect. Um and I say like, oh, I want a lovely place where people can be really comfortable um and it's like as Felicia was saying of just wanting to be able to let it be how it is and that was just sort of the I guess tangible example of like what
Yeah,
it symbolizes underneath.
interesting. Nice. Thank you.
Mhm.
Appreciate you sharing, Laura. And let's hear from the other group. So, Tisha, what did you end up sharing about your conditioning?
Yeah, I feel like a conditioning that I've had is um feeling like I'm in between. So I'm mixed, and so at times I didn't know where I belonged growing up. And even to this day, like there's so many things that I feel like I'm in between of, like in politics, in sometimes even in religion, in so many different ways I feel like I'm in between.
Mm,
But on the flip side of that, I will also say that like something that's really settled in for me, even in just these last few months, is that like although sometimes it feels like my world is falling apart, it's like it also feels like it's falling into place. And in some ways, I feel I'm feeling more powerful in my stance of being in the middle and being able to, because I have more perspective in ways. So I feel like I've been deconditioning the looking at the in between as a bad thing, but it's really just a place for me to stand powerfully and like to not only just relate more, but just be able to be all of who I am.
I love that. Thank you, Tisha. Marlon, what did you discover about your conditioning?
Wow. As Tisha was talking, I was like, I definitely relate to that right now. Especially since this year it's been a lot of letting go, like a lot of different things. So, so I understand that in between phase, definitely. But my thing was, I feel like one area I was conditioned in is feeling like I had no control or lack thereof. Like trying to be everything for everybody else around me, because I was telling the other group, I've been in different stages in life, but I feel like wherever I am, like a lot of my focus is towards, my environment or my family, what they currently need in that moment. So I feel like that's where I've been conditioned into.
Mm, wow. Powerful. Thank you, Marlon. And Cliff?
Well, the conditioning I feel is a conditioning about violence. Um, there was a moment the other day where I hurt myself on the furniture, and then I hit it back because my father, like when I was very young, he told me, okay, like that furniture hits you, you gotta hit it back. And I think it brought something with even people. All right, they hit you, you gotta hit it back, and then it brings to this the thing of vengeance. or like you gotta hit a bike. But what I did like a couple of days, I did not destroy the furniture that hurt me. I baby proofed it, those like things on the corner, and to make it like that I will not hit myself back, because sometimes when some people do bad things and we find that it's unfair, we say, oh, we need justice, right? But I realized that there's a fine line between vengeance and justice. And vengeance and the cycle of violence that brings more vengeance, it does not bring towards love, or your higher self. It just
Mhm.
brings more violence. But then justice is basically a certain form of, and it's still a fine line. So I'm still reflecting on those things, but I think we should I should treat myself with more love, and and even in the process of being seeking justice for others, because I believe in peace, love, and also a form of justice. We need to um, have more compassion and love for the people that sometimes um, when they hurt, we want that same level of hurt, but at some point this world needs to stop hurting people that hurt, and maybe find a way to heal them. Maybe they can be future healer even behind bars. All
Hmm.
right, that's all for me for that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I definitely can resonate with that. I think a lot of my violence, I turn it inward. Like I was taught to turn it more inward. Your dad was like, oh, go external, go to the other person. Whereas like my mom kind of taught me to like turn the violence inward to myself. So for me, it's a lot of just like self-doubting, a lot of, negative self-talk, that was conditioned by, it's like my mom said things to me that I internalized as like the voice in my head, but because she also said those things to herself. You know what I mean? Like she would say them to herself and then she would say them to me and then now I say them. So it's about really learning to unbecome that, and to listen to my actual, soul voice and not the conditioned voices. So speaking of that process, there is a process in human design called deconditioning. And so that's where we really focus on separating what is truly you from what was placed on you. Um, and so it's really about discernment of what is mine, what is not mine. And I want us to all just take a moment right now, if you can, look at your chart, look at your body graph, and I want you to notice, where do you have open centers? Where do you have openness? Marlon's smiling because his are all open. But for the non-reflectors, where do you have openness?
I guess
And
it's the top of the crown.
yeah, so the top
Oh,
one is the
sorry.
crown. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So let's start there. Let's start with you, Felicia. Aries always first. Um, so you have an open crown.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, the fourth one down to the right, that what's green on that picture
Uh-huh. That's
and
the
what's
heart.
yellow.
Hmm.
Oh, the heart. Oh no. What, what's beneath that? The yellow and the orange.
Okay,
So
so the
on the
yellow,
opposite side, those two that
yeah,
parallel each other.
got it.
Mhm.
So you have the open solar plexus, which is the yellow, and then the open spleen, which is the orange on the other side. Okay. And then Laura, what about you? What are your open centers? Oh, you're muted.
They are root, sacral,
Hmm.
G, solar plexus.
Okay.
I mean, this says it right, open centers.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah. For those of us that are looking at the chart generator from my website, there is a section on your chart where it'll just list the open centers. That'll say open centers. That way you can just read them off. Tisha, do you have yours?
I do. Throat, the spleen, heart, head, and ajna.
Ajna, yeah, that's like the mind. Uh-huh.
Oh,
And
the
then,
mind. Okay.
yeah. And Cliff, what are yours?
Interesting.
The spleen and the root.
Those are your defined centers. What are your open centers?
Oh, all the others. The
Everything that's
yeah,
not the spleen and the root. Yes, I tell
right.
Cliff all the time, he's almost a reflector. He's like one gate away from being a reflector. Um, okay, so all of the openness that you see in your chart, these are the places where conditioning happens. So
Mm,
the deconditioning process is really, and we're going to get more into this next week when we go over the centers and what it means to have it defined and undefined. But the deconditioning process is really about looking at the energy of those centers and questioning the inherited beliefs in those areas, noticing any kind of like automatic reactions you might have in certain areas. Um, a lot in human design is about slowing down before acting. If you notice, if I go back to all of the different strategies, we all have something to do before we act. For manifestors, we have to inform before acting, right? We have to pause and then inform. For generators, they have to wait to respond. Manifesting generators have to wait to respond and then inform. Projectors have to wait to be seen, recognized, and invited. Reflectors have to wait a full lunar cycle. There's a lot of waiting, if you notice, right? Really about like, let's slow it down, let's pause, um, and really reconnect with ourselves and our soul before we go into that action to make sure it's aligned first, make sure it's really us. A lot is releasing shame, right? A lot of times we have, shame about our actual authentic selves, right? For example, with the whole like informing and not asking permission, I used to think that that kind of behavior was like not acceptable, um, and that I was supposed to be like meek and quiet and always ask like the authority figure, etc. And I would feel like shame around doing the opposite. So releasing shame is huge. Healing past trauma, that's going to come into play for both the undefined and the defined centers. So anything you have defined, you can actually get blockages from trauma. So it's not called conditioning, but it can be an area where you feel stuck, even if that center is defined, if it's like a blockage that is caused from trauma. And then finally, reconnecting to your inner authority. So on your chart, there's a place where it says authority, and each person has a different, well, depending on who you are, but we all have different authority centers. And that's how we make our decisions. So we're not going to go into all the different authorities today. There's a lot of different types of authority, but just know that part of the deconditioning process is really reconnecting to your specific authority and then using that as your guideline, as opposed to your brain, your mind, the people around, etc. And so because of the deconditioning process, it can take a long time. In human design, they say that it takes a full 7-year cycle from the time you learn about your design to the point where you could potentially fully decondition, because that's how long it takes cells to regenerate. And literally all of this is ingrained in our cells at a cellular level in our DNA. So all of the conditioning from the past, it can take time to, release that. Um, there are just some suggested tools to help with that process. So journaling, any kind of nervous system regulation. I'm a huge advocate for transcendental meditation, for taking baths to clear things out. Um, if you have, any kind of like issues around food, like creating new rituals around rest and work as well. Those are huge for all the energy types, but a lot of us have, even I know that like my mom, who is a projector, was shamed by her father and called lazy because of, her lack of work ethic. So releasing any kind of shame around, like how much you do type of thing, especially if you're a non-sacral type. And then the biggest one is saying no when something feels misaligned. And that goes for everyone. Um, Please, please, please say no. Because if you say yes and you show up or you do that thing or you engage with that person and you should have said no, it's not going to turn out well for anyone involved. So always best if we say no when it's not aligned. Um, okay, so I know that was a lot of information. I want to give us a pause here. Speaking of pauses, to just ask any questions, anything that's coming up for us. Um, so if anyone has any questions, you can feel free to unmute. And now is the time to ask.
The things I want to ask, hey, me going forward again. I feel like I just have to wait for us to get further into it to like really, understand because like the numbers and the different points, I'm now wanting to read up on their function. So I don't know that I have any questions, but I will offer that I really enjoyed this. The idea of aligning and looking at ancient energetic truths spoke to me, how you set things up in describing it. So I'm excited to learn more, but I don't know that I have an appropriate question for this stage we're in.
All good. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, I'm glad that it resonated with you. And that's, like I said at the beginning, all of the little things, like it's really tempting to just like want to dive in right away. And that's pretty much what Cliff and I did when we first discovered human design. We kind of went like all in really fast. Um, and at the same time, not all of it landed, even though I did that. So, it's the kind of thing that it takes time and layers to actually really fully land in our system. Um, Even if we go really deep, really fast, it can just, and then it even longer to actually start living it. So to start practicing really living your strategy and your authority, it takes, time to get to. Are there any other questions, comments, things people want to share?
I have one question.
Yes.
So when it comes to decisions like waiting a lunar cycle,
Mm.
like to what extent do we have to wait? Like, is there like Tisha's laughing because she knows me? Like, is it like kind of like a big decision, or it's just like certain decisions in general? Or
Yeah. So base it on like the gravity of the decision, right? So like, moving to a new place, entering into a new relationship, a new career path, like big decisions like that. Don't starve yourself for a month to wait and find out what you should eat. Like you gotta gauge it on like the significance of the decision, basically. Um, and it's hard to give any kind of concrete specific times like, oh, if it's a buying a new house, wait a month, and if it's a wedding, wait two. Like it's really, you got to feel it and see the signs from the universe, which are what we call those nudges. So yeah, it's going to be different depending on the individual.
gotcha. Thank
Anything
you.
else? Yeah, of course.
I just had a comment. Um,
Yes.
you know, I find this also amazing because I was introduced to human design in 2022 after my sit with ayahuasca. And I knew my human design, but I didn't really understand, and I didn't really know, like I knew what my human design was, but not on a deeper level. Um, and this is also exciting to me because as you were going through um, the presentation today, and as I've been revisiting it since I've met you, um, it's making so many things make more sense. Like I work with Kiara, who's a manifester,
Mhm.
and like there are so many moments that are just clicking. And I've worked, with Marlon, and just so many things are clicking about the people around me and how I can show up better for them. And also just understanding innately what is natural to me that makes so much more sense when I've been going through my own chart and looking. It's just everything makes so much more sense. It's like all the little puzzle pieces are coming together. Um, and it just feels good. It just feels
Amazing.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And that's really why I want to, I've been working to incorporate it in businesses and schools because imagine if we could all just understand one another and how our energy works and be able to communicate so much better. When I kind of piloted this in beta testing when I was still working in schools, the communication was just like instantly better between me and my colleagues. And then I started beta testing with students, and they were so into it. Most of the MGs had just been labeled as ADHD because of the nature of their energy. So they felt very seen, and they were like, oh, that's just how I am. Like it's not like a problem child, so it's very, yeah, it's very illuminating. I love that about it. Anything else from Laura or Cliff?
Well, when you asked if we've heard of human design, just like several days ago, a woman asked me if I've heard of human design, and she said, I'm a projector. And she started, and so that was, I think, my first time hearing about it, like not even like within this week. So it's
Oh,
so
wow.
amazing that here I am.
I love that. Oh,
Mhm.
I'm glad that you were here. And of course, a projector told you about it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes, of course. Um, so many of my clients and people around me that are into human design are projectors because they can understand others so deeply that when they are presented finally with a tool to deeply understand themselves, they're like, oh, yes, thank you. So
Mhm.
now they can understand themselves and then others even more. So, yeah, projectors tend to love human design. That's wonderful. Okay, so let's just get into, before we go into our closing grounding meditation moment, I just want to kind of ask that we do reflect throughout the week. Hopefully, you're able to join us next week. And either way, I would love for you to do some reflecting throughout this next upcoming week. Um, just try to notice, right? Like, when do you feel most like yourself? When do you notice yourself forcing something? If you're a generator, especially, where do you feel lit up? And when do you feel drained? And if there's any kind of like things that we're shoulding ourselves into doing, right? Notice those moments as well. Um, and then there's just a few journal prompts for if you're someone who likes to journal, and I do encourage that. Um, just reflecting on where did you honor your strategy. So as you saw in your chart there, each of us has a strategy. When did you honor it? So if you're a generator, when did you wait to respond? If you're a manifester, when did you inform? If you're a projector, when did you wait to be invited? And if you're a reflector, where did you wait for the nudges of the universe before acting? Okay. And then Marlon, I saw you had your hand up. Did you have another question?
Yeah, this one's more of a comment too, and kind of like a realization I just had as you guys were speaking. Like this going towards conditioning as well. Like feeling like I had lack of control. Like even when I was younger, like let's say if a friend asked me, "Hey, Marlon, you wanna come to this party?" And if it's like, let's say if the party's like a week and ahead, I'm already like, "Oh no, man, I need a little bit more time." I think my parents ain't gonna you know ain't gonna let that fly. You know,
Yeah.
like a realization. Um, I feel like the conditioning is also me. And while I was thinking, it was outside circumstances. Like thinking back on all those times where if something is short notice, I'm automatically um, thinking that it's my environment. But I think that's something I need to work on. And as far as my own conditioning, you know, realizing that it's Marlon that is choosing to wait, not putting the responsibility on others. And that's actually something that just popped up in my mind as you guys were speaking. I'm like, this is making a lot of sense.
Thank you. Yeah, well,
No,
we're always glad when things start to make sense, that's for sure. That's what all of these tools are here to help us do. So I love that. Um, okay, and then just to look ahead for next session, we will go into the 9 energy centers in human design and what it means to be defined versus undefined, how the conditioning affects each center differently. And we'll also talk about the light and shadow of each center. So each center has the ability to be in the embodied or the light side versus the shadow. And then we'll talk about tools to kind of heal those internal blockages if they're in the defined centers. So we'll look at where you're aligned, where you're operating from survival, and then what needs released and repaired. Um, so, with that being said, I would love to give everyone a few moments now to just post one takeaway or insight from tonight. Um, and then on Instagram, you would just tag both of the Instagram accounts. So, Reconnectivism, which is the nonprofit, and then Reconnect Healing Menu, which is the holistic healing initiative that I facilitate using the human design and holistic health. And then, yeah, obviously you guys already all have your cameras on. So, but I'm going to give you a few minutes now to just post your takeaway or insight and then tag those accounts. And then I will be putting the names in the generator and then announcing the winner. Please. And the winner is. And while you guys were doing that, I did the random name drawing, and we have Felicia. Woohoo! All right.
Yay.
Congratulations,
Nice. I'm looking
Felicia.
forward to this.
Yeah. All right. So, we are going to now just go into last announcements. We have an upcoming in-person event with Reconnect that's very exciting. We're going to be at Dockweiler Beach on March 1st at 12 p.m. We're going to do a fire pit and community building. It's going to be awesome. So we would love to have you there. And then last but not least, I'm just going to have Cliff lead us in some guided grounding and breath work as we close out.
Well, excellent, excellent, Megan. It was beautiful. Thank you for everyone's attention and interest and beautiful souls. I'm gonna ask everyone to un go unmute themselves, everyone, because I want to be able to hear everyone. It's gonna be a little bit of an echo, but it's fine. Okay.
Okay, so everyone unmute.
All right. So we're just gonna take a deep breath, everyone. So inhale, everyone, with the eyes closed. Exhale. Inhale through the belly. Exhale. Big inhale through the nose with the belly. And then on the exhale, you release a sound like, ah, let it go, let it go. Another one. Inhale. And on the exhale, a sound. Ah. Now, on the inhale, you just breathe. And on the exhale, you just say, mm-hmm. So inhale, everybody. Exhale. Mm-hmm. Another one. Inhale. Mm-hmm. And just to tell you what is this, it's a sound that we find in every cultures all around the world in different and so many nationalities between humans because it's a sound that we give when we prove and we agree to someone. So with Reconnect, we're using the sound to open into agreement, to give consent, to laughter, to oneness, to love. So now you're just gonna repeat after me. We're just gonna do some affirmation and then it's gonna be it. Ready, everybody?
Yes.
And you might have neighbors, you might have people. Make sure that they hear what you say. Don't be shy. Are you ready? We're gonna repeat two times the affirmations, and you just repeat after me. If you hear echoes, if you hear the neighbor, if you hear everything, keep going. It's just gonna be for 2 minutes. We're gonna go into a trance of love. Are you ready, everybody?
Yes.
I am worthy of love.
I am worthy of love.
I am worthy of love.
I am
I am
worthy of
worthy
love.
of love.
I am somebody.
I am
Somebody.
I am somebody.
I am
I am somebody.
I am because we are.
I am because
Because we are.
I am because we are.
I am
Am because we are.
We are one.
we
We
are
are.
one.
We are one.
We
We
are
I have the power of love.
I have the
have
power
the
of love.
power of
I have the power of love.
I have the power of love.
Love is powerful.
Love
love.
is
Powerful.
Love is powerful.
love is
Powerful.
I am loved.
I am loved.
I am loved.
I am loved.
Loved.
I am powerful.
I am powerful.
Powerful.
I am powerful.
I am
Powerful.
I choose love.
I choose
Choose love.
I always choose love.
I
Always choose love.
I choose healing.
I choose healing.
Healing.
I always choose healing.
I always
Always choose healing.
Healing.
Setting boundaries is an act of self-love.
setting
Setting
Boundaries
boundaries
is
is an act of self-love.
Setting boundaries is an act of self-love.
setting
Setting
boundaries.
boundaries is an
an
act of
self.
self-love.
I respect my energy
I
Respect
respect
my
Respect my
energy
energy
and protect it with love.
and
and
protect
and
protect it with
protect it
love.
with love.
I respect my energy and protect it with love.
I
I
respect
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 my
my
energy
energy
it with
and
love.
and
protect
protect it
it
with
with
love.
love.
I love myself.
I
I
I
love
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 myself.
myself.
I love myself.
I
I
love
love
I love
myself.
myself.
I forgive and love myself.
I
I
I
forgive.
forgive
forgive
and love
and love
myself.
myself.
I forgive and love myself.
I
I
I
forgive.
forgive
forgive
and love
and love
myself.
myself.
I forgive and love my parents.
I
I
I
forgive.
forgive
forgive
and
and
love
love
my
my parents.
parents.
I forgive and love my parents.
I
I
forgive.
forgive
And
and
love my
love my
parents.
parents.
I forgive and love others and wish them well.
I
I
forgive.
forgive and
And love
love others
others and
and
wish
wish
them
them
well.
well.
I forgive and love others and wish them well.
I
I
forgive.
forgive and
Give
love
them
others
Wish
and
and
wish
then
them
wish them
well.
well.
I'm ready to thrive as my higher self.
I'm
I'm
ready.
ready to
To
thrive
thrive
as
as
my
my
higher
higher
self.
self.
I'm ready to thrive as my higher self.
I'm ready
I'm
to
ready to
Ready to
thrive
thrive
as
as
my
my
higher
higher
self.
self.
I have the power to create my dream life.
I have
I
the
have the power to create my
create
dream
my
life.
dream life.
I have the power to create my dream life.
I have
I
I
have
the
the
have the
power
power
to
to
create my
create
dream
my dream
life.
life.
I'm rich.
I'm rich.
I'm rich.
I'm rich.
I'm
I'm
rich.
I'm rich.
In
I
the
almost said
darkness, in the darkness, I always find light.
in
In
the
the
In the
darkness.
darkness, I
darkness,
always
I
find
always
light.
find light.
In the darkness, I always find light.
In
In
the
the
In
darkness,
the
darkness,
I
I
darkness,
always
I
always
find
find
always
light.
light.
find light.
I am light.
I
I
I
am
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 light.
light.
I am light.
I am
I
I
light.
am
am
light.
light.
I am Buzz Lightyear.
I
I
I
am
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 Buzz
Buzz.
Buzz
Lightyear.
Lightyear.
I am Buzz Lightyear.
I
I
am
am
Buzz
Buzz
Lightyear.
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 I love to laugh.
I
I
love to
love
laugh.
to
I
laugh.
laugh.
I love to laugh.
I
I
love
I love
to
to
love
laugh.
to
laugh.
laugh.
I'm a warrior of light.
I'm a
I'm a
I'm a
warrior.
warrior.
warrior of light.
I'm a warrior of light.
I
I'm a
am
I'm
a
I'm
warrior.
a
warrior of
warrior of
light.
light.
The earth love me.
The
The
earth
The
earth
earth
loves
loves
me.
loves
me.
me.
The earth love me.
The
The
earth
The
earth
loves
earth
loves
earth.
me.
me.
loves me.
I love the earth.
I
I
love
I
love
the
I
love
the
earth.
earth.
love
earth.
the earth.
Now let's whisper that just for our soul. I'm grateful for my life here and now.
I'm
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 grateful.
grateful
grateful for my
for
life
you.
here and now.
Here,
I'm grateful for my life here and now.
I'm
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 grateful
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 for
grateful
for
my
my
for
life
my
life.
here
life
and
here
now.
and now.
now.
And so it is.
And so
And
it
so
So
it
is.
is.
it is.
And so it is.
And
And
so it
And
is.
so it
so
So
it
it
is.
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 And now everybody with their hand up like that, like that, and cross, and then
Oh,
like that, yeah. And then when you do like this, you say 1, 2, 3. Mm-hmm.
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 mhm.
And Marlon, if you just have one hand, you just like that. So ready, 1, 2, 3. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Thank you, everyone. May those affirmation carries along your journey, and feel free to always, especially love and forgiveness and gratitude. Use that when your survival brain, which is also called the monkey mind, kicks in and wants you to find problems where there's no problems. Always use love and forgiveness. Those are great. Tools of love to reconnect with your higher self.
Beautiful. Thank you, Cliff. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you guys
I
for
hope,
having me.
yeah, hope to see you again next week. And in the meantime, if anything comes up, reach out, let me know. If you want to check in on your reflection and all of that, we'll be happy to talk more. So yeah, thank you so much, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your night and take care of yourselves.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you
Thank
both.
you
You.
guys.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Good night. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Bye. See you.
Bye.
Infinity and
Mm-hmm.
beyond.
Beyond.
Yeah.
Hilarious.